Many of you will know by now of the extreme hard mode ROM hack, Pokemon Emerald Kaizo, after I made my last video on it, showcasing some gameplay and talking about the game for a bit. The biggest takeaway about Kaizo is that it's not for the faint of heart, especially if you nuzlocke it. So far, all of my attempts have ended in complete disaster, and even the creator himself explicitly warns you not to nuzlocke this game. This video will be all about Kaizo and will be split into two parts. The first half will be an in-depth review and an analysis of the game, since there's so much about this game that I still haven't talked about yet, and I'll explain what this game does differently, as well as its new mechanics, and things you should consider should you ever try this game yourself. The second half of this video will be a strategy guide of sorts. I'll be talking about the insane gameplay and difficulty, along with some strategies I've found to help me mitigate the borderline unfair difficulty and the insane grinding to save you some time. I did find one strategy that allowed me to reach a 4th gym without too much trouble, while not needing to grind that much. Hopefully after this video you'll know everything you'll need to know about this game. If you haven't tried this challenge already, then maybe after this video you'll be ready. Emerald Kaizo supposedly is taking inspiration from Pokemon Fire Red Omega, which I have covered previously. The game is essentially the same Pokemon Emerald we all know and love. The only real differences are with the game's mechanics. Similar to Omega, loads of quality of life changes have been done. First of all, you start off the game with the national pokedex unlocked, letting you catch all Pokemon in this game, even the legendaries and starters, and the best thing is that you don't have to do any trading to evolve any Pokemon, which I always thought was really dumb in the other games when I was a kid. There was no Wi-Fi and I had no friends to trade with. Sad times. Thankfully, this game does away with that. The Pokemon themselves have many alterations done to them. The main one is that every single Pokemon has a revised move pool, which is crazy. Every single Pokemon gets access to more well-rounded and more competitive moves. In theory, this makes every single Pokemon more threatening, and is also a nice and convenient change. Most fire types learn to move Flame Wheel at an early level, and Pokemon in general have better stab moves, such as how most poison types can now learn Sludge Bomb from level up, or how Swampert can learn Ice Punch. This does fix a big problem with the original games, of how Pokemon like Arbok, their strongest stab move was Acid. Yeah, it's a nice rebalance. Every Pokemon in this game has better coverage options now. Some Pokemon also have had their base stats improved, but to my knowledge, not too many. I know that Spinda, Dugong and Sableye, to name a few, have gotten stat buffs, but the creator said that not too many Pokemon have received buffs this way. Some moves have also been buffed, such as how Giga Drain now has 75 base power in this game, or Leech Life having 40, which is cool. These changes do make conventionally bad Pokemon a bit better. As for any changes with the game world, there's a few. Every town now has a patch of grass or a fishing spot added, along with the player getting access to the fishing rod early in the game. This was done specifically for nuzlocke rules. The only other change was that a few extra trainers had been added in this game, along with some new post-game content. What I really love about nuzlocking this game is that this game is so diverse. You can reach Petalburg Forest 20 different times on 20 different playthroughs and have a unique team each time, as there's such a huge variety of Pokemon you can catch in each route. This really keeps the game fresh and entertaining, unlike the regular solo run challenges, or challenge runs like, could you beat the game by using Pokemon that were used by this character, gym leader or villain? Where the Pokemon being used aren't even that weak to begin with, and there's no extra nuzlocke rules. I did this myself in the past, and people pointed out in my own video how dumb it was, and to be honest, I actually ended up agreeing with them. That's why I'm now doing these extreme nuzlocke challenges now. The variance and uniqueness of each run combined with extreme difficulty is not only a lot of fun, it's similar to playing Dark Souls where you're forced to be careful, you have to manage your resources and make decisions, where your choices have consequences, and if you fail you get punished and have to learn from it. Maybe you weren't high enough level, maybe you need to consider that Pokemon have good coverage moves, maybe you got too cocky, or maybe you were just plain unlucky, which does happen. After many defeats, I've learned a lot, and I'll show you all how to manage this game's difficulty more easily. But the other reason I like this challenge, and why it's more interesting than beating the game with like, gift Pokemon or trade Pokemon or whatever people do, that always include at least one Pokemon that's really strong, like a Heracross or some jank, as if the possibility of beating the game is even a question with that rule set. The Nuzlocke challenges are more interesting to play and to watch because unlike those challenges, Kaizo is hard as balls, Nuzlocke or not, blind or not. The consequences of failure give real weight to the gameplay, and adds a big layer of suspense as I can actually fail the challenge. You know, imagine actually losing a challenge for once, where both myself and the viewer can see exactly how I failed and the choices I made along the way. We both question what will happen next, and I have to play the game smart. If you've seen my last video, my hubris was underestimating my opponents. It truly is like Dark Souls with the game's unforgiving nature and punishment. But let me explain briefly just why this game is known for being so extreme. The difficulty is unreal, and I really mean it, from the very first battle. This level 2 Zigzagoon can kick your ass. The crazy thing is that the game is actually designed to be easier at the start, and to spike even more as the game progresses to the final battles, where even at max level, your chances of winning are very low, even without nuzlocke rules. It just gets harder and harder. The reason why is that every trainer is mega souped up. They all use held items and have TMs that you just never expect them to have. Enemy Pokemon like Zubat can use moves like Giga Drain, or sometimes you get unexpectedly hit by 4x super effective hidden power out of nowhere. Big brain strategies are used, such as toxic stalling, Wobbuffets abusing Destiny Bond, or that one time I lost to a Sunkern. Yes, a Sunkern. It has Protect, Leech Seed, Mega Drain, and has a Citrus Berry to stall me out. This is made worse by the fact that enemy levels are high, making Fire Red Omega look tame. At first the game doesn't seem too unbeatable, but as you go on it gets crazier and crazier, to the point that every Pokemon in Elite 4 is level 100. You heard that right, the gym leaders are just insane, as they all have very threatening teams, especially the last three, especially Tate and Lisa. What the hell, look at this team, oh my god. To make this problem worse, the encounter rate in most areas is super low, making grinding slow at parts. The one good thing is that at the Pokemon League, you can buy an infinite amount of rare candies to reach level 100. But that's just the creator showing you a twinge of mercy, as even then you'll only be on the same level as Elite 4. And don't even get me started on their teams. Apparently it's almost impossible to beat them without prior knowledge. Even the developer himself had come up with a very specific strategy just to beat them. Madness, just madness. The last reason why this is so stupidly hard is that in this game you do not gain any EVs at all, making you unable to EV train. People underestimate how much of a difference EV training made in other games. At level 100, this 1% special attack goes up by about a third if fully EV trained in it, making a big difference. All of these changes make for one of the hardest nuzlocke experiences you will ever see. Now I know that many of you will want to try this game, but I guarantee that almost all of you will die at some point. There's no shame in it. But after many failures myself, I will show you what I have learned and how to manage the first half of this game without too much trouble. I did lose that run, but it was only because I was lazy and stopped grinding altogether. But first, let me share some of my wisdom with you. The first lesson is that no matter how you slice it, you just have to grind. A lot. The levels here are simply too high. You cannot get by without going out of your way to grind. Though with my method that I'll be showing you, this isn't too long or tedious to do. The need to grind only goes up more and more as the gyms get tougher and tougher, and it's not enough just to match them in level, no. You have to outlevel them significantly if you want to beat them without having any casualties, unless you're really lucky. This leads to my second lesson. Abuse daycare centers, and especially the move Sweet Scent if you come across it. Man, those two things are so useful and will save you so much time, as the encounter rate can be very low with a few exceptions. The daycare center allows you to level 2 Pokemon simultaneously without needing to do wild encounters, and is really good to do. My way of abusing this was by using the Mac bike and riding up and down Slateboard City on the speed up option. I would just watch a video while alternating the up and down button every few seconds. After ages of doing this, it wasn't unexpected to gain 10 levels at a time from doing this. It's also less tedious than battling, as I could just do something else while grinding this way. The other option for grinding, and the better one in the long run, is to get a Pokemon that has the move Sweet Scent to circumvent the low encounter rate. This is not as autopilot as the cycling method, but is faster in the long run, as late game the wild encounters become very high level. With speed up, you can level up quite easily, mitigating the need to grind that much. Final lesson is to expect anything at any time, and always expect hacks to occur. Boss battles in particular all have great coverage moves and unique strategies, and trust me, they usually have answers to everything. Bringing ground types to Watson's gym? Well, he has hidden power grass for that. You see a Golbat or Nekins? Well, they use Giga Drain. You need to have a well-rounded team that has an answer to anything, and you need good coverage yourself to deal with threats. Ideally some bulky Pokemon that can switch into oncoming hits would be nice. These are my main lessons of the game. But there is one strategy I used to great success and managed to beat the first half of the game without too much trouble, and I'll show it now. You can try this yourself, as it's most likely the path of least resistance. So start off the game and choose Mudkip. You could choose the other starters if you want, but I really do believe that Mudkip is the best starter, as it only has one weakness when it evolves, while having great coverage and good all round stats. Go and catch the available Pokemon, which to be honest did not matter too much in this run. Now you have to start grinding, and what I did here was I went to the patch of grass that had only fire types in it, and I just grind Mudkip to a stupidly high level. The theory behind this is that it's better to have a very few very strong Pokemon on your team than it is to have 6 lower level Pokemon, as in that case you have to split the XP between your team. I just focus most of my efforts in grinding up my Mudkip, as I know it will be very strong later on. Also the encounter rate in that area is surprisingly good, so I easily grind Mudkip till it's jacked and it destroys the early game single-handedly. You will need a backup Pokemon, just in case you run into grass types. I keep grinding Mudkip till it evolves eventually at Petalburg City, and after that it can easily plow through everything that isn't a grass type. Hell, even the first gym leader's strongest Pokemon is only level 15, but in Petalburg Forest I catch an Oddish, and this is very useful. Unfortunately it doesn't learn Sweet Scent in this game for some reason, but its typing makes it a very good Pokemon to back up my Marshtomp, as it can switch in to deal with grass types, which there are a few in Petalburg Forest. I make Oddish my second most important team member and grind it till it evolves into Gloom at level 16, then carry on. Jesus Christ, this Magikarp is whipping me. That's when you know this game is being silly. I fight the Magma Grunt in the forest, who has 6 good Pokemon and uses Toxic Stall, but luckily Gloom managed to sweep. While Marshtomp is great, it is vulnerable on its own. It needs at least one other good Pokemon to back it up, but Gloom sweeps easily. I do focus mostly on Marshtomp first though. Trainer Red jumps us, but we give him the boot as Marshtomp is such a high level now. In Rustboro City, be sure to check the new patch of grass that got added to the town, as there is a chance of spawning a Sweet Scent user, and good god do you want one. We beat every trainer, and there was one battle where my starter was in trouble, but Gloom was able to pull it out. But now I go to Rustboro Tunnel, and this is probably the best grinding spot for a while, as the encounter rate here is actually extremely high, and the fact that everything is rock or ground type makes this really easy to grind with. I'm already a high level, but I grind anyways, and grind, and grind. Then I go to clear out Roxanne's gym, and grind again until Marshtomp is level 29, and Gloom is level 23. The other Pokemon in my team don't matter too much. I face the first gym leader, who's usually a pain, but for me it was super easy. Just get Marshtomp, spam Bubble Beam, and sweep. Lileep was a threat as I had Giga Drain, but it still went down in 2 hits. So yeah, that's the first gym badge done easily enough. A good start I suppose. At this point I'm doing great. I beat May and a new Aqua Grunt that got added. One time Marshtomp got frozen and got hacked like 6 times in a row, which was really dumb. It's a good thing I had Gloom with me. I clear out the second gym and grind only a little bit, so Marshtomp is now level 35, right before it evolves. In hindsight I would recommend just evolving it for Brawly, but I want to see if I could beat him with just my Marshtomp. So I battle Brawly and his team is strong. This time I lead off with Gloom just to be safe and take out his first 2 Pokemon. Marshtomp comes in and then just cleans up the rest of his team. It wasn't too hard, though I could have gone hacks, so I would recommend evolving to Swampert if possible. My Marshtomp does evolve afterwards, and is now a monster, as it plows through every single trainer without a fight. Be very careful of the 2 Team Aqua Grunts, as they both have 6 Pokemon and you have to fight them back to back. Also be very careful of the Wynot, as it has Destiny Bod and Shadow Tag, but they all get swept by the beast Swampert. Same with Mate, who stands no chance, not even your Grovyle. You do level up very quickly with this method, as Swampert is fighting so many trainers on its own, and they all have like 6 Pokemon. It gains so much XP. I reach Mauville City and beat Wally, but Jesus Christ, what is his route? It's level 70. It doesn't do anything to me, but it's still nuts. Now Gym Leader Watson is next, and Swampert can easily beat his team on its own, as it's high enough level. The one problem is that most of his team has hidden power grass, but if Swampert is strong enough, it'll still flex on his team. I beat every single trainer first and go to beat Watson. Do be careful of the Windstreet family. But yeah, Watson doesn't stand a chance at this level. He still outsped me with a few Pokemon, but it didn't matter as Swampert was just too bulky and wrecked his team. That was easy. Gloom does faint afterwards, which is very unfortunate, and the fact that I ignored to grind it is actually what ended this run later on. but now Swampert is super strong as it now has the move Muddy Water and Ice Punch for unlimited power. Trainer Red waits for me, but this time I jump him and end his team as Ice Punch is great coverage now. Loads of strong Magma Grunts got added in the following routes, so Swampert beats them all on its own, but it wasn't easy. I'm not grinding like I should, so I am cutting it very close here. But I still make it back to Rustboro City and proceed to the next boss fight. At this point the game is noticeably spiking in difficulty, but I beat Tabitha first, though he does have some surprise Giga Drain users, and some of his Pokemon can still outspeed me, even at his low level. The Maxi fight was next, and oh man that was tense. His first Pokemon was a... What? A Registeel? Jesus Christ! It goes down anyway, but oh my god, his Houndoom outspeeds me and uses Hidden Power Grass, even though it's 24 levels lower. Crobat also uses Giga Drain. Be gone. I thought I was going to lose here, but I just managed to take a hit from Alakazam and beat it. One more Pokemon, and I barely managed to win. In the end, Swampert one-hit KO'd his Dusclops, but it was really close. This was actually hard, and holy moly, it's crazy how he had a legendary in his team. Unfortunately, I lost right after this to a Meganium. For all the power Swampert had, it still lost to its grass weakness. To be honest, this was completely my own fault, as I wasn't taking this seriously anymore, and I stopped grinding completely and only used my Swampert, so it's no surprise I lost here. I would have beaten Flannery easily with my Swampert though, because it would have been like level 70. I want to retry this run where I actually take things seriously and actually try and grind. This strategy I use does work however, as I got this far with so little grinding, as the whole run was basically carried by only one Pokemon. I would recommend you doing the same approach if you want to try this Nuzlocke yourself, but do put in at least some time grinding, and have at least 2 strong backup Pokemon like Gloom. They don't have to be ridiculously overleveled like Swampert, but they should be strong enough to handle trainers and support your main Pokemon. With enough patience, you too can make it far in this game, though I cannot guarantee your success in the late game, as the gym leaders become so crazy. You might have to reach level 100 just to reach the Elite 4. But this concludes the guide. I will do a stream shortly, where I showcase my revised strategy and show you all just how efficient it is and how far I can go with it, now that I'm being serious. If the run goes well enough, I will do a part 3 video just like my last video, where I showcase my run. But that concludes the video. This has been a wild ride, and I hope you enjoyed this and learned something new today. Hopefully you will be ready for the run of your life. But I will see you all next time. This is Ding Dong signing out.